There's a $2 trick that can double your harvest without buying seeds, fertilizer, or any expensive equipment. It uses something so simple that ancient civilizations built entire agricultural systems around it, yet modern farmers have completely forgotten it exists. This technique can extend your growing season by months, grow crops in impossible locations, and increase yields beyond what seems physically possible. All you need is a mirror. Sound too good to be true? The Romans used polished bronze shields to grow grapes in northern Britain, where grapes shouldn't survive. The Incas used sheets of hammered silver to cultivate crops on the dark sides of mountain terraces. Chinese emperors had gardens that produced fruit year-round using nothing but reflected sunlight. This isn't ancient magic, it's physics that works exactly the same today as it did thousands of years ago. So why don't you know about this? Because there's no profit in selling you mirrors. You buy them once and they work forever. No monthly subscriptions, no replacement parts, no upgrades. The agriculture industry can't monetize sunlight, so they buried the knowledge and convinced you that growing more food requires buying more products. Welcome to where we uncover what they wanted you to forget. If this is your first time here, subscribe and hit the bell, because what I'm about to show you could revolutionize your garden using nothing but reflected light. This is knowledge that fed empires for centuries, then vanished because it worked too well for free. The science behind mirror gardening is embarrassingly simple. Plants need light to photosynthesize, and more light means more photosynthesis, which means more growth and bigger harvests. Most gardens only get direct sunlight for part of the day, leaving plants starving for light during morning and evening hours. Mirrors can redirect sunlight from any angle, effectively giving your plants 12 hours of direct sun, even if your garden only gets 6. But it goes deeper than just more light. Strategic mirror placement can concentrate sunlight to create microclimates that extend growing seasons far beyond what nature intended. You can grow tomatoes in December, start seedlings in February, and harvest crops that normally require tropical conditions in temperate climates. You're not fighting nature, you're using physics to bend the rules in your favor. Ancient civilizations understood this perfectly. Roman agricultural texts describe using polished metal plates to reflect sunlight into shaded areas of vineyards. They could grow grapes in northern territories where the climate should have made viticulture impossible. The technique was so effective that Roman wine production expanded far beyond the Mediterranean, reaching regions that modern viticulture considers marginal, even with advanced technology. The Incas took mirror agriculture to extraordinary heights, literally. In the Andes Mountains, they carved terraces into steep slopes that received uneven sunlight. The south-facing terraces got plenty of light, but north-facing terraces remained in shadow for most of the day. Instead of abandoning these areas, they installed sheets of polished silver and bronze to redirect sunlight from the bright terraces to the dark ones. This doubled their growing area and allowed them to feed massive populations in one of the world's most challenging agricultural environments. Chinese agricultural manuals from over 1,000 years ago detail sophisticated mirror systems for extending growing seasons in northern provinces. They used polished bronze mirrors mounted on adjustable frames to track the sun's movement throughout the day, constantly redirecting light to maximize plant exposure. These systems allowed them to grow rice in regions where the growing season was normally too short, effectively expanding the agricultural capacity of the empire. But the most impressive example comes from medieval Islamic agriculture. In the deserts of Spain and North Africa, Islamic farmers created oasis gardens that seemed to defy the laws of nature. They used networks of polished metal reflectors to concentrate sunlight and create intense growing zones that could support crops requiring far more light than the desert environment naturally provided. These gardens produced abundant harvests in locations where modern agriculture would require massive irrigation and climate control systems. All of these civilizations understood that light is the fundamental limiting factor in plant growth, and that controlling light means controlling productivity. They developed mirror techniques that cost almost nothing, but delivered results that seem impossible by modern standards. Then, something changed. The Industrial Revolution shifted agriculture toward mechanical solutions and chemical inputs. Farmers were told that increasing yields required tractors, fertilizers, and pesticides, not mirrors and physics. Agricultural education focused on soil chemistry and plant breeding, while completely ignoring light management. The knowledge of mirror agriculture was gradually lost, dismissed as primitive technique from people who didn't understand modern science. But the real reason mirror agriculture disappeared wasn't scientific progress, it was economic pressure. You can't build a profitable industry around selling mirrors to farmers. Once installed, mirrors work for decades without replacement or maintenance. There are no recurring costs, no upgrades, no service contracts. The agriculture industry needs farmers to buy products continuously, and mirror systems generate zero ongoing revenue. Chemical fertilizers, on the other hand, must be purchased every season. Pesticides need regular application. Seeds require annual purchase. Equipment needs maintenance and replacement. These create sustainable business models that generate profits year after year. Mirror systems generate profits once, then work for free forever. From a business perspective, they're worthless, so agricultural colleges stopped teaching light management. Extension services stopped recommending mirror techniques. Equipment manufacturers focused on developing products that required ongoing purchases rather than one-time installations. In just a few generations, knowledge that sustained civilizations for thousands of years was completely erased from agricultural practice. Today, most farmers struggle with shaded areas, short growing seasons, and insufficient light for optimal plant growth. They're told the solutions require expensive greenhouse construction, artificial lighting systems, or relocating to better climates. Meanwhile, mirrors that could solve these problems for a few dollars sit unused because the knowledge of how to use them has been systematically eliminated. But the physics hasn't changed. Light still drives photosynthesis exactly the same way it did for ancient farmers. Mirrors still redirect sunlight with perfect efficiency. The techniques that fed empires still work exactly as well as they did thousands of years ago. The only thing that changed was our willingness to use them. Now let me show you how to implement mirror agriculture in your own garden. These techniques work whether you have a small backyard plot or acres of farmland. The principles scale from windowsill herb gardens to commercial operations, and the results are immediate and dramatic. Start by observing your garden's light patterns throughout the day. Most gardens have areas that receive full sun, partial sun, and deep shade. The shaded areas represent lost productivity, spaces where plants struggle or can't grow at all. These are your target zones for mirror intervention. For small gardens, simple flat mirrors work perfectly. You can buy cheap mirrors at dollar stores, thrift shops, or use old bathroom mirrors that would otherwise go to waste. The size doesn't matter as much as the placement. Even a small mirror can redirect significant amounts of light if positioned correctly. Mount your mirrors on adjustable stands so you can change angles as the sun moves throughout the day and seasons. Simple wooden stakes with hinged brackets work perfectly and cost almost nothing to build. The goal is to catch sunlight from bright areas and redirect it to shaded zones where plants need more light. For maximum effect, position mirrors to create concentrated light zones rather than trying to illuminate large areas dimly. It's better to create one spot with intense light than to spread weak light over a wide area. Plants respond dramatically to concentrated light, often doubling their growth rate when moved from partial shade to intense reflected sunlight. The results are immediate and obvious. Plants in reflected light zones grow faster, produce more flowers and fruit, and extend their productive season far beyond normal limits. Tomatoes that normally stop producing in October can continue fruiting into December with proper mirror placement. Seedlings that normally require 6 weeks to reach transplant size can be ready in 3 weeks under reflected light. But mirrors can do more than just extend seasons and increase yields. They can create microclimates that allow you to grow plants that shouldn't survive in your region. By concentrating reflected sunlight, you can create warm zones that support tropical plants in temperate climates, or extend the range of heat-loving crops far beyond their normal geographic limits. Advanced mirror systems can track the sun's movement automatically using simple mechanical linkages. These systems maximize light capture throughout the day without requiring manual adjustment. You can build effective sun tracking mirrors using basic materials and simple mechanical principles that have been understood for centuries. For larger operations, multiple mirrors can work together to create intense growing zones that support high-value crops in otherwise marginal locations. Commercial growers in northern climates use mirror systems to extend growing seasons and increase yields without the massive costs of greenhouse construction or artificial lighting. The energy efficiency is perfect because mirrors use no electricity, require no fuel, and have no operating costs. They convert sunlight to useful plant light with nearly 100% efficiency, something no artificial lighting system can match. A mirror system that costs $50 can deliver the same light intensity as electric grow lights that cost thousands of dollars and consume massive amounts of electricity. But perhaps the most powerful application is season extension. By redirecting low-angle winter sunlight, mirrors can maintain growing conditions long after natural light becomes insufficient. This allows continuous harvest of fresh vegetables throughout winter months, when grocery store prices are highest and quality is lowest. The technique works in any climate and any location. Urban gardeners use mirrors to grow food in shaded courtyards and narrow spaces between buildings. Suburban gardeners use them to maximize production in small yards with limited sun exposure. Rural farmers use them to bring marginal land into production and increase yields on existing cropland. Yet, agricultural extension services never mention mirror techniques in their recommendations for increasing yields or extending seasons. Gardening books ignore light management in favor of soil amendments and fertilizer schedules. Agricultural colleges teach complex theories about plant nutrition, while completely overlooking the fundamental role of light in plant productivity. This isn't accidental ignorance, it's systematic suppression of knowledge that threatens profitable industries. If farmers knew they could double yields with mirrors instead of fertilizers, chemical companies would lose billions in sales. If gardeners knew they could extend seasons with reflected light instead of heated greenhouses, equipment manufacturers would lose massive markets. The mirror trick that doubles your harvest isn't just about growing more food. It's about understanding that the most powerful agricultural technologies are often the simplest ones. It's about recognizing that ancient knowledge was suppressed not because it didn't work, but because it worked too well without generating ongoing profits. Every mirror you install is a declaration of independence from agricultural industries that profit from your ignorance. Every plant you grow with reflected light proves that the solutions to food production challenges don't require expensive products or complex technologies. Sometimes the most revolutionary technique is the one that costs $2 and works forever. If this opened your eyes to what's possible with simple physics, hit like so more people can discover this forgotten knowledge. Subscribe because we're uncovering more buried techniques that could transform how you think about growing food. Share this with someone who's struggling with shaded gardens or short growing seasons. The mirror revolution starts with understanding that light is the ultimate limiting factor in plant growth, and that controlling light means controlling productivity. Ancient civilizations knew this secret and used it to feed empires. Now you know it too.